everyone, it's me Mary and welcome to another video on my FLOSSTUBE channel. So on my last video I was asking about if anybody would be interested in me doing a PCStitch tutorial, and Carolina S said yes, so I figured I would. So this will be for anybody who's possibly curious how I use FLOSSTUBE or how I use PCStitch to make a chart and convert it into a PDF and then save that and use it in something like Photoshop, because that's what I do. So I'm going to be showing you those tips. This is a box that shows up every time I turn it on. I just haven't turned off the show tips at startup, but just close that up. And now you'll have new, recently used, open, and tutorials. So I'm going to click on new. And you're left here with this box. I'm going to get rid of copyright because I don't care about that. But you want to put in how many stitches by how many stitches. So I'm going to say 100 by 100. That's fine. Display, the only thing under here that I care about, you can change the grid line colors, especially if you have like a really dark fabric. But I'm going to leave that as is. This is to change your fabric. You can do custom as well. I'm going to leave it as white because why not? Stitch options and properties, I leave those the same. So we'll click OK. And now we have this 100 by 100 document. And whenever you make a new project, this floss palette is always shows up like this. So I'm going to left or right click and click clear unused entries. And there we go. So now we're not left with that anymore. I'm going to zoom in. So I'm going to keep zooming in. I'm going to go to the top left corner and I'm going to pick my colors. Now there's available colors here. DMC stranded cotton is what I have, but they have JMP coats, Krennic, Mill Hill, Madeira, Weeks Dye Works, Anchor. They have a whole bunch of stuff. You could probably add more if you want. So sort by floss ID, description, color. I have it by ID, and then you can list it by the color only, which looks like that, color and ID, which is my preference, or color ID and description. And I'm going with color and ID. So to add a color onto here, because you can't just make a chart all of a sudden, you need a color. You want to double click on the color, so I'm going to double click on Dusty Rose. And boom, here is the little symbol. So say maybe I'm converting over a dimensions kit, or I'm converting over a kit, or making my own pattern. And this symbol isn't what I want. You have a whole list of symbols. If you click symbols, here's a plus sign, here's like the music symbol, here's some waves, here's a heart. I mean, you have a ton of possibilities. You can click on this A symbol up here and it will show this one, which are just symbols, or you can click on PCStitch symbols and a whole bunch of more symbols will come up. Anything that is like this are basically unavailable. I don't know why, it's just the way it is. Another one is symbol. And you have a whole bunch of symbols. You could also go to something like Times New Roman. And that also has symbols in it, like this, and like this almost sort of money cool looking sign, this backwards P, the percentage sign, all sorts of stuff. But the one that I like to work with is the PCStitch symbols 3, unless the symbol I can't find it under these. So for the purpose of this, we're just going to make that the default. So let's just say, okay, let's say this right here is my pattern, this weird looking shark thing. This is great. You can see the color, looks good. Other options include, now you can get rid of the gridding like so. This will view as solid colors, or this is show view available colors, by the way. This one is to view as symbols, which there we go. So kind of neat. This is my personal preference when using PCStitch. You can see as symbols and color. So I personally like this one the most. This is to view as stitches, and this is to view as like virtual stitches. So this is the one I like. And then again, if you want to add a color, say this blue, double click. And again, I'm not trying to create any sort of pattern. I'm just trying to do like, you know, something just to show you guys. Let's do black. Go. Let's do a nice purple. A yellow. Just trying to fill all this up. Green. And that's about it. So I filled up this whole thing. And these are all full crosses, by the way. So I'm going to zoom in to show you the next part. Let's say, we don't really have anything here. Let's say, oh no, I've made a mistake. I don't want this in here. You can click on this little symbol, which is the eraser tool, and you can select everything that you don't want. And then click on this little pointer, and there we go. Or click on that, I guess. So there we go. Now, say I want to do maybe 3/4 stitches. What I personally like to do is hold down the control button. We'll pick a new color for this. The control button, and then I'm going to click in the corner that I want the 3/4 stitch to appear. So there we go. And maybe I want a yellow on the other side of that. Oops. Want a yellow on the other side of that. So there we go. And maybe I want to do a little thing like that. Create a neat thing like that. And there we go. And let's see. Like that. Oops, and one more. So there we go. That's how you do it. Now, beading is also available. So you're gonna hold down this, click this button, and that's for French knotting. And just kind of randomly place it wherever you might have French knots, say like there and maybe right directly in there. And of course you can change the color. Maybe that wasn't it. So oops, you can do there. That's directly in the middle, there, so on. Okay, maybe there's one in there, which is kind of hard to read. But anyway, and then this button, or this one here, is for back stitching. So let's pick a color that we can see. Maybe this triangle is outlined in back stitching. There we go. And maybe there's a back stitch here. And oops, and this is back stitched. And of course, again, you can change the color to be, you know, matching whatever you want, but that's pretty much how you do the back stitching and those things yourself. So this is the pattern. Now, if you want to see how you've done, this is what it looks like. So a whole mess of thing. Obviously, this isn't a real chart or anything. But that's it for that. Now up here, these are pattern properties. Say you need to change anything, you can go ahead and do that. This is instructions. So maybe you want to create any instructions that you need. You can add text. You can open up borders, add notes, and what have you. This button here is to purchase supplies. So I'm honestly not sure how you change it to from everything cross stitch, because I tried looking under settings and there was no way to change it. So I really don't know how you change it to say like 1, 2, 3 stitch. But these are the colors that I've used in this pattern. How many you need, and then how much it costs. And then you can say, I don't want to purchase fabric, or let me choose from all fabrics available at 1, 2, 3 stitch, or sorry, everything cross stitch, and then order supplies. So there we go. That's how you do that. Now, I think I've explained everything in here. The only other thing is for print preview. This is where you're going to actually save and save your chart as a PDF and use it in something like Photoshop or on your iPad, whatever. So your option, I have Microsoft Print to PDF. You're going to choose your PDF program. Your print stitches as symbols, color blocks, symbols over color, stitches, virtual stitches, all of that stuff. So you can actually see it as like a virtual stitch if you wanted. And print preview, and there we go. That's kind of what it looks like. As stitches. And you can actually see it as stitches, which is kind of neat. So if I zoomed in, say like 200 times, you can see that these are all supposed to be half stitches. And then this is supposed to be like a 3/4 stitch, so you can kind of see how you're actually supposed to do it and whatnot. So that's kind of interesting. So there we go. But I personally like is symbols. So we're gonna leave it like that. Grid options, page options. I'm gonna deselect the print header and print footer and print copyright because I don't care about those for this purpose. I'm gonna get rid of description. Actually, you know what, for this, I'm going to keep it in, but I'm going to leave all of this stuff as is. But for this, the purposes of this, I usually get rid of description because I don't need the description to be there. Everything else I'm going to leave the same, just to show you guys what it looks like when it's done. But usually I would remove most of the stuff. And then information sheet, margins, and stamped, I leave all those. So we're going to print. I'm going to save it into my folder. And I'm going to call it just sample. It's going to print 5 pages. I'm going to open up Photoshop, and this is already a saved, or already a, not saved, I already have this document made with a white background, so I'm going to open up. There's a sample, and it shows 5 pages. I'm only going to pick the 4 pages for this purpose of this tutorial. So this is the first page because this is sample-1. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it into this document and kind of paste it there. Then I'm going to copy and paste 2 and paste it in. Obviously, you'd be seeing these as their own separate pages on something like Heaven and Earth when they give you the charts. Page 3, and then page 4. Okay, so when I work in this, when I actually edit my chart, I have all of these, so we're gonna hide these 2. This is 2. Now, as you can see right here, it shows the numbers, and it's showing this column, which, let's see here, it's showing this column and this column. Those two columns, these and these are the exact same. So I will show you what I do. So I'm going to highlight all of this. And I'm going to, oops, there we go. I'm going to get rid of that. This is what I do when I actually edit in here. I'm going to line up these 2. For some reason, they're not going to quite line up. I don't know why. I'm not really sure why. They normally line up, but it's not going to make a huge difference. As you can see, they line up all the way down. And then here's page 1, which I'm going to get rid of as best as I can. I don't know why it's so close, but whatever. Oops. Get rid of that. And then page 2, get rid of that. Again, this is just for the purposes of how I edit. And yeah, you don't have to do any of this. Page 3. Oops, we actually already have that. So again, I'm going to get rid of that. Oops. There we go. So page 3, zoom in. This these right here, these two rows, I guess in this case, and these two rows are the exact same. So again, I'm going to take this and I'm going to edit that or cut that out. And then I'm going to line those up. Perfect. And then for 4, again, the same thing. These two columns and these two rows are the same and they correspond with these, which I'm sure you guys know. So for the purpose of this, I am going to cut that and cut that. Sometimes it's hard to tell where you want to cut it, and kind of line it up where it needs to be. It might not be perfect, but it's, I mean, pretty close. So there we go. And oops. It's so easy to do just a small little thing and mess it up. Okay, so this is what our thing, and it looks really weird far back. The one I'm working on right now isn't messed up like that, but that is about it. So that's what it looks like when it's finished. And then when I actually, I'm gonna combine all of those. Now, when I go to edit, I'm gonna create a new layer. I'm gonna make that a fill of about 50%. That way I can still see the chart underneath. I'm going to zoom down to where I'm working. Say I'm working here at the bottom. There we go. I'm going to select my my brush tool, and I have 2 random colors selected. I have blue and red. Blue is for anything that I've actually charted, and red is for anything where I've parked. So it just makes it easier. So, for example, I'm just going to highlight colors that I've stitched. So say I've stitched all of these. You know, I'm not doing it super neat right now, obviously. When I actually work on a chart, I do it a lot neater than this. But say I've stitched all of this. There we go. Say I've stitched all of this, and then I've run out of thread, and then I want to park, and maybe I've parked right here. There we go. Oops, let me do that a little bit better. So there we go. And then I decide, okay, I'm starting back up again. There we go. And it hides it, and I stitch again, and there we go. So that is about it. I mean, that's really all there is to it. I prefer to do this way because I do in blocks of 10, and I do the parking method. So yeah, when I start to work on a heaven and earth design, I will probably do it like this because I already have PDFs of those charts. I'm going to probably just take it, edit in Photoshop, and then just do it exactly like this. So that is about it. If you guys have any questions or comments regarding, you know, if you guys have any questions or comments about anything in this video, feel free to ask me. Again, I'm not like an expert at this, and if you want to get rid of the grid marks, there we go, which kind of helps. And that's about it. I mean, again, you can view, and there we go. So that's what my made up chart looks like. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, and again, you can go to there and say I accidentally add like, I don't know, a bunch of colors. Oh, and one more thing. If I say I have 165 already in here, or another color, and I add it again, a little information thing will pop up and say that it's already in use, and you can use it again. It's just that it's letting you know that you've actually used it twice, or however many times. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now, there's a few colors that I don't have anywhere here, so I can go clear unused, and it will get rid of anything that I haven't used in this pattern or in this chart. So that is about it. There's not really much else to say as far as I know, but if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. And yeah, that's about it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.